I am Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Soucy.
And we're paranormal specialists who live in the most haunted city on earth, Savannah, Georgia. Every day is Halloween in our line of work, so join us as we spin true tales of haunts, murders, and disturbing Savannah history. I'm Madison.
I'm Chris.
And welcome to the most haunted city on earth. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the most haunted city on earth. My name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Soucy.
And I'm Bartleby Porkins.
Bartleby!
I love the name Bartleby, but why Porkins?
I don't know. Pork. I love pork. It's just got to be it, I guess.
Yeah. I like the
Steakins.
name. Bartleby's just a fun name.
Bartleby's great.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite Herman Melville works is Bartleby the Scrivener, because that is a story about a man who just decided he wasn't going to do anything. As a matter of fact, his boss is like, do your job. And his answer was, I would prefer not to.
That's such a mood.
And then he answers that to everything.
Wow.
You should eat something. I would prefer not to. He actually dies.
Oh, what?
He prefers not to?
Because he literally prefers not to. And I'm like, that man, goals.
Yo,
Yeah.
right?
Why do we always end up coming back to Herman Melville? This is a running
I don't
theme
know.
now.
That's
I
hilarious.
think that, yeah.
He had a great impact on us, apparently.
He did indeed.
Or maybe
I
JT
don't-
just has Herman Melville on the mind.
I don't, though. I really don't. I
You're
know
like, I
nothing
think-
about the man.
You're like, I think nothing of him.
I don't.
Well, regardless.
Bartleby the Scrivener, great short story.
It's a fantastic short
There's actually
story.
a short, I think it's a feature film starring Crispin Glover as Bartleby. So
I
you
love
should-
Kristen Glover.
Yeah.
It's
Willard.
really good. Yeah, Willard.
Willard to the death of me.
Yeah.
All right. Chris, tell us about a museum.
Hey, we are about to open the Savannah Paranormal Museum. We're actually coasting into our soft open, which will be about a month of running the museum on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays for about 6 hours a day. And it's kind of just getting people through the door so that they can walk around and kind of interacting with people. Not all the exhibits will be up and ready. We have at least 3 exhibits that are being developed as we speak, and we just wanted to be able to, during this developmental period of time, reach out to people who are interested in it and see what they want in a museum and what kind of interactive stuff we can do for them. So yeah, we are a hair's breadth away from opening the doors to the public, and it's very exciting. We're having a great time, and it's hard work. It's
hard to build a museum.
It's a headache, to be sure,
Yeah, it's going to be fun, though.
but it's going to be fun. We're going to have a great time.
There's some really cool artifacts in there. I mean, y'all have seen a few of them, but
Yeah, we
there's
can't
all
wait
sorts
to really start doing deep dives into separate artifacts, and also trying to suss out what pieces have what influences. And so we're going to be inviting people in to do investigations with us on these items. Certainly this podcast will be sitting in there on many a night, just trying to even out what's going on.
Heck yeah.
I think we're hoping to create an Estes method
chamber.
No, a gift package.
Chamber.
So you'll be able to buy a blindfold, spirit box, and headphones
yeah.
Oh, that's
all
fun.
in one package.
Yeah,
So you can come in and just get that. Because it's hard to get
dope.
locally.
That's super dope.
People come to Savannah all the time and they want ghost hunting equipment.
Yeah.
And there's not really a store for it. We just got kind of a reseller's license with the St. Augustine ghost hunters people.
cool.
So
Yeah.
we're going to
love them.
start purchasing bulk items to sell. I just actually, and this, I'm kind of excited about this. We got a portal device coming in, and the portal device, I didn't completely understand how it worked, but basically you hook up your own spirit box.
Okay.
So we'll take the S box that we use. You plug it directly in, and it filters out everything but the words.
Oh, that's cool.
So
That's super cool.
takes away the static sounds and the skippy sounds, and only the words come out.
That's interesting.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, how does that work? I don't understand, but I appreciate it because I think what it's doing is it is sourcing out all of the regular radio chatter and looking for the clearest words
Right.
in on any spectrum of the frequency. And I was like, I'm very interested in doing some work with that.
Quickly, Alex had an interesting question. For the Estes method, do you have to be a medium?
No, it definitely helps.
It helps a lot.
But
And I think you'll learn with Spirit Box work at all. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. But some people are just not overly receptive. We have internal blocks that we may not even realize or understand. And a lot of times it bears down to phobia. There is a block that many people have when it comes to supernatural encounters that is very basic and very at the base, and it keeps them from experiencing it. So there's a lot of people who are like, well, I'm not sensitive. I don't have, I'm a ghost blocker or anything like that. But the truth of the matter is there's some place in the development where they just close the door.
Yeah.
And that door is very closed. No matter how open they are to the experience, that doesn't make the door open. However, continually practicing, continually trying does help open the door. And that's kind of why I always talk about like the apps, which don't have any scientific, backing. It's not about the app itself. It's about you engaging in the communicative spirit. And as you move through that, you're opening the door. And some of us have very tightly closed doors for, a myriad of reasons. It could be, your religious upbringing. It could be you're just really scared at base, in your childhood. I used to always liken it to when you're a child and you're like, mommy, there's a monster in the closet. And they continuously come back and say, that's not real.
Yeah.
That is solidifying in your brain. It's telling you to shut down whatever you're experiencing, shut down because it's not real. And then the spirit on the other side is like, I can't get this kid to pay attention to me.
yeah.
It's like, it's because they've turned it down. They've locked it down because reality that is being told to them overrides the reality that they were experiencing before.
Yeah. I mean, I was a very adamant kid though. When I told my mom that, so just a brief story. When I told my mom that there were evil ghosts standing over my sister's crib when she and I shared a room together when we were really, really little. And my mom was like, no, they're not going to hurt her. I'm like, they're literally trying to kill her. And I was adamant about it. So it's like,
just it. The environment does kind of breed whether or not, the family members are like, maybe I should take this seriously.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of cases, it's like, what is the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is you're entertaining the thought and entertaining the imagination. The best case scenario is you save your child from some entity that is trying to do damage.
All right. So, and it is worth noting that Parajunkies will get a discount based on your tier to the museum.
Absolutely.
And it's worth noting that. And if you're a Parajunkie, we will show you where we shoot everything. So that'd be pretty dope too, because right next door. All right. And Madison, 0 ads.
Yes. So speaking of Patreon, we have a few little things to bring up for Patreon. Of course, as always, one of the biggest perks of being a Parajunkie is that you get all of these episodes ad-free every single time. So you don't have to listen to a random grocery commercial or whatever it is.
0 ads always.
0 ads always.
And it's organized.
And so another new thing that Patreon just recently added for our Parajunkies who are currently, and if you are planning to join, we do have our true crime podcast as well called From One to Wicked. And up until this point, we have not been posting the episodes very often because we don't want to inundate the people who are just the ghosty people, since that is our primary purpose for Patreon with our true crime nonsense. So now there is a feature where we can post the episode directly to the true crime chat. So only those people are going to get notifications,
Heck yeah.
which is fantastic. So also, if you're a true crime person listening to this, you will be getting all of that content as well on Patreon.
Dude, when our Patreon rep told us that, I was like, this is the greatest day.
Yes.
I'm like, wow, you just
very
made
helpful.
my freaking life. All right. And then y'all, very important, if you are not a para junkie and you want to become one, Madison, hate it.
So basically, Apple sucks right now. And I do not mean that lightly. They have put in place a very predatory and annoying new fee. So essentially, if you are going to make any purchase through Patreon on the iOS apps specifically, there will be a 30% fee that goes to Apple. So this is how you bypass it. Go on to Patreon on a web browser, and then you can sign up through there, and you basically bypass that fee because Apple does not deserve your 30% for no reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, 100%. And then you can use the iOS app and you're not paying any fee monthly.
Exactly.
How insanely greedy.
It's so
It's
greedy.
ridiculous, and everyone's mad about it.
Yeah,
All right.
I
so
hope they
let's
hear
get
that.
into some fun stuff now that all the business is done.
Yes.
All right. Cool. All right. So Madison, go ahead and switch them links.
Yep.
And this is an episode of Ghosts Caught on Camera.
Did you get the shot?
I think I did. Yeah.
Let me see it.
Mark, you had your eyes closed.
Wait, what's that behind us?
It looks like a...
You guys? There's a ghost in the photo.
There's a ghost in the photo.
In the photo.
The call was coming from inside the house.
Yeah.
I swear, every single time we come in here, JT has a new effect for us. That was a good one.
That was
Heck
nice.
yeah.
That was lovely.
A whole dialogue.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was a whole scene going on.
Yeah. Okay, so should we open our first link?
Yeah.
Okay. We have videos
Yes.
today.
So this is the Facebook link, Madison?
Yes.
All right, cool. So here we go. There's no audio, but they will be talking to you. Hold on one second. I'm going to enter the full screen, switch it over for the Pair Junkies, and press play in. Do you have it up?
Yeah.
All right, press play in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. What? Is it? Hold on. I think I
Yeah,
have to
they're
see that.
showing you.
Oh, whoa.
Yes. It's why you need to
Whoa.
look back over your footage is what it's called.
What in tarnation?
So everyone listening, what are we seeing?
So basically, they're doing a sweep. It looks like the hallway of an abandoned institution of some type.
Yeah.
And as they're doing this, there is a very pronounced shadow figure, easily
Super.
seen. And yeah, you can really.
With his arm kind of bent
Yeah.
in a weird way, like his
Yeah.
hands facing back. Hold on, going back up. We don't need to see Bill Hader. But yeah, it's like fully shadowed out. It looks like a male figure of some sort. And
I think
his
it's the leg
is that a leg?
and the back because it actually comes all the way up. It's very odd.
So my question is this Trans-Allegheny?
oh,
Because
Trans-Allegheny, there you go.
okay, it's actually Indiana State Sanatorium. Okay. Because my question, why I said is it Trans-Allegheny, is because they have a entity that's very prominent called the Wolf, and he tends to do things like this.
Man, we need to do it from one to Wicked on him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, see, it almost looks like you can see his shirt line.
Yeah.
His pant leg. No, that's a
fantastic
insane, video. Because it's so very solid. The shadow is. Yeah, no, that's incredible. And it's funny because institutions generally do have at least one shadow figure. Even Waverly Hills has their shadow.
Right.
And shadow figures are basically this consolidation of energies that can appear as an absence of light, as an obstructor of light. And sometimes you can see them in the dark because they are darker than the surrounding darkness.
Well, and it seems like this was all an accident too, because the
Right.
caption says I was dragging a table trying to set my cell phone on it when it disappeared. So it was literally just that. So maybe it was trying to make its presence known now that everybody was kind of like, being a little bit distracted. Yeah, I mean, this very well could be a former nurse at the sanatorium. This could also be a patient of some sort.
You know, it's funny because the way that the shadow cuts, it looks like it's wearing a tunic,
Yeah.
which is kind of like the old orderlies.
Yes.
You know,
yeah.
An old-fashioned orderly tunic, which would come to mid-thigh or, just below the buttock.
Yeah. Trisha said one of the creepiest video evidence ever.
It is severely creepy. I'm not going to lie. Because I'm not overly familiar with Indiana State Sanatorium, so I'm kind of going off of just blind feeling about it. I don't think that it's anything menacing or anything like that, but that's to be expected in a sanatorium.
It does have that residual, just going about its business kind of situation.
And I think a lot of it could be that, nobody remembers who this patient was, or if
Right.
it was an orderly, it's not been recognized as whoever that was. So now it's kind of just evolved into this shadowy figure. It's severely creepy, though.
So
it's so tall too.
It's very tall, but it also has the body stance of, it looks like it's pushing. It could be pushing a gurney. Mm-hmm. Because it's kind of a little hunched over. Do you see?
Yeah. Oh,
and it looks
yeah,
like it's
yeah.
pushing something this way.
That's very interesting.
That is just wild, though.
I do love Bill Hader, though.
I also love Bill Hader. That keeps trying to show us that when this video finishes.
You go back to the links.
Yeah.
You go back to the links. So yeah, I just figured that
No,
was
that's a great video.
That's
I
a
got
really
some
good
heavy
video.
hitters in this bad boy and in this episode, and that's one of them. I think that was a really, really interesting video, and it does go to show that we need to I sent that to Debria, and I was like, we need to slow down a little bit because we capture so much and we cut like crazy. And I'm like, we need to slow down and take a look at some things sometimes because that was a great catch.
It was.
You know?
And it one of the hardest things about ghost investigations is how much content you have to pour over and how very minuscule the evidence might be, because it could be a fraction of a second. And if you're not paying really close attention, you could miss it.
Yep.
There are plenty of occasions where people have gone through all of their, evidence, and someone else entirely is watching and going, "Whoa, did you see that?" And they're like, "What? No, I missed it. What?
It's very true. I've told people on a number of occasions, especially people who aren't typically, paranormal investigators, are doing it for fun. I always tell them, taking burst photos is a great way if you're just in a
burst
space.
photos are really important, because many things that that you want to encounter, if you have photos just before and just after, really helps solidify. Because sometimes, orbs are a perfect example.
Right.
Most orbs are dust or bug.
That's very
But
true.
if you burst fire and you've got 5 to 10 photos and only one of them has an orb in it, dust moves. It would be in multiple pictures. It would not be just in that one.
Exactly. And I also usually tell people, I'm like, don't delete your photos or videos immediately, because sometimes things do show up. It's not always, but every once in a while things appear. When I was in St. Augustine many years ago with my mom, we did a ghost tour, and they took us by one of the really old cemeteries. And so she was taking photos through the gate, and so she was looking through her photos, and she's like, nothing showed up. And we were looking at them again in the morning, and there was the super clear full figure standing in the cemetery.
Oh, wow.
That was not there the night before. So sometimes things show up.
Yeah.
I've also seen phone screen, you caught something, and then the next day the phone screen turns totally green or totally black.
Yeah.
And that's always super
I've seen
bizarre
that too.
It's really interesting. So
All right, so on to the next one now. This is probably our heaviest hitter. This is a viral video from TikTok. And I have a feeling a lot of our listeners have probably already seen this, and I figured it's probably a good idea for y'all to discuss this video because of how insane it actually is.
Is it the Elmo balloon?
Yes, it is the Elmo balloon, Grace. All right, so switch over to it.
Man, I
And
love this video.
Madison,
oh, I've seen this video. Oh, it's
you've seen it too?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
No, it makes the rounds, and it's so compelling.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. Why is it always Elmo? Why do the ghosts love Elmo? I am so for real, y'all. That is terrifying.
It is so terrifying, and there's really very little you can do to change your impression of this video, because I really scoured it, because there's more video about this particular Elmo balloon, because it sent me down the rabbit hole. I wanted to know, but there's a moment when it looks like it actually touches the light switch, turns off the light.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it's
like at the
looking
end.
at the light switch right now. It's kind of moving towards it. It turns off the light switch.
So for everyone listening, oh God, so creepy. It's so creepy. So for everybody listening, basically, what exactly is happening?
So what's happening is there is an Elmo mylar balloon that is weighted in the feet and has helium in it. So it looks like it's hopping up the stairs. It looks like it's walking up the stairs.
Its legs are moving.
Yes, its legs are moving like it's walking. And it is coming to the top of the staircase, and it's in a very deliberate fashion. It does not seem like the wind is blowing it. It does not seem like it is responding to something. It does not look like strings are pulling it. It's just a very solid, like, what the hell is happening kind of video. And as it gets to the top of the stairs, the lights go out, and then it stops.
Right where the person was
It just
standing.
dead stops at the top of the stairs, and it's just standing there. It is an eerie thing,
It does
to
a
say the least.
moonwalk back too.
Yes, it almost looks like it was passing the staircase, and then it was like, oh wait, I should go up the staircase. It's tremendous, and I want to say that there was another video of a janitor at a school, and he was chased by this red balloon, and this reminds me of that. Because here's an interesting thing that, and debunkers are always very quick to be like, well, the wind can do this. Or, well,
Right.
it's like spirits are not weightlifters. They do not have a whole lot of
Right.
considerable strength. So if you have a figure that is literally lighter than air, that is the most likely thing to be manipulated by a spirit. It can do more with something that is lighter than air than it could do, like when you're like, pick up that coin or turn off this light or push open this door. No, move the balloon.
So my other theory is, do you think that balloons get moved the most? Because I've seen we've even had a balloon show up here.
Oh, that's true. We had 3.
We had three red balloons show up out of nowhere. Do you think it's because balloons create static electricity and it's easier for them to manipulate because of that?
Yeah. And that makes perfect sense too. We talk about how spirits are drawn to electricity. So the static electricity of a balloon could easily be something that draws a spirit to it. And a balloon that is shaped like a being would probably be so much temptation.
Right.
We've talked before about why so many dolls are haunted, and it's because the physicality of a doll is that it's present in our realm, and it has arms and legs and eyes and mouth, and people interact with it. And that is enough to enlist or inspire the attention of a ghost.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is one of my favorite recent videos because it's just eerie.
It's super eerie.
It's super eerie.
It's super eerie. And even if a lot of people will say like it's faked and all of that.
I'm of the mindset that it could easily be faked.
It could,
Absolutely.
right.
There could be a fan at the bottom of the steps.
But yeah.
There could be a fishing line that we can't see. Although
Right.
I think the fishing line, because of the number of angles that we go through,
would be
detectable
difficult.
at some point.
Yeah, it's
It's just
I
very.
know. I've been watching it to try to
and
see
the fact
if I
that the
can
legs
catch
move
anything.
one
but
after the other.
Yeah.
That's strange.
That's
It's
another
very
thing.
strange.
Alex commented, someone said that it was a video going backwards, edited and moved forwards. I don't know. It's
Oh,
weird AF.
interesting.
I've heard that as well. I have heard that as well. It doesn't make it any
Less creepy.
bizarre.
Yeah.
Because if it's going down the stairs that way, it has the same question. It's like, what is the suggestion? Is it being blown down the stairs?
Right. It still
Because even if you were like blowing it down the stairs, where is the air hitting it? What is happening? Are you utilizing the house? Like, a draft in the house can come through a window and go out a door downstairs. And is that what's pulling this thing down the stairs? but it also doesn't move like
Right.
it's being forced in any direction, which makes it compelling.
Right.
Which you're like, I don't note that there's a force against it. Like if air were blowing against it, you could kind of read it in the mylar itself.
Right.
The
You'd see
mylar would be crinkling
Flappy.
and flapping
Yeah.
and things like that.
And it still just doesn't make the legs make sense if air is blowing against it, because that is fully moving in strides. That's the legs really are the most convincing part of it. Because
It does look like it's changed its mind about where it was going.
look.
It turns and looks up the stairs, and then, it definitely feels like it's a deliberate move up the stairs. And again, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't doubt anyone who would debunk this. It's perfectly debunkable. But for me, I love how eerie and present it seems to be.
right. So,
Yep.
I mean,
All right, on to the next one. So Madison, these are the this is the photo of the two kids. All right, I am gonna go ahead.
do you want to
and
read
show
it first and then we pull it
the
up?
Parajunkies. Is what?
Did you want to read the caption first
I
and then
am.
we pull it up? Okay.
Yep. My mom took this picture with her phone camera, and my daughter is the one on the right. There was absolutely no one else there when she took the photo, yet somehow another figure appears beside her. What's even stranger is the difference in their feet. Why do they look so different? We have no explanation for this.
Ooh.
Nope.
Whoa. That's super interesting. So you said that this is her daughter?
Yeah.
Okay. It feels like she picked up a kid ghost,
Absolutely.
truly. And somehow, with the technology, they were able to actually see the little kid that she's probably been playing with this whole time,
Yeah.
which is super creepy.
So, yeah, just for all the people listening, what are you seeing?
So this looks like a small child with her arm around an entity of about the same size. You can see the head. You can see the front leg of it. It almost looks like it has a peg leg, to be honest, making me wonder if this is not a child with polio
Oh,
That's interesting.
or some other disorder that would have shriveled the legs a little. Because even in its posture, it seems like perhaps this was a child with a disability. It's so clear that it's something that is right next to the girl, and it looks like her arm is just around the shoulder. It does not look unnatural at all, except for the fact that the entity, you only catch like a shadowy outline of the entity, and the legs are odd.
They're odd.
Almost mechanical looking.
Yeah.
It's
Like maybe a child that had braces, and the only thing we see are the braces that would have been on the leg.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, truly, if somebody didn't tell us that this was paranormal, we would look at this and be like, "Oh, that's two children."
Right.
You know.
Yeah, there's something weird about the exposure, but
Yeah.
Like,
It
I
does.
wonder if it's a child who died recently just because of the energy level.
I mean, it's a
that,
possibility. Kid spirits don't tend to lose energy as
Right.
quickly. They stay pretty hardy for a while.
and there's we have a lot of theories about why that is, and predominantly among them is we are inundated all our lives with how death works. We're told, we have rituals, we understand it, we come up with all kinds of different explanations as we live. The longer we live, the more ideas we have about what happens after death, how death works, what our spirits are going to do. When children die and they don't know about death, they accept that the new dynamic that they're in is just another part of life. And they can actually manifest their own energy. They use their imagination. They do not need to worry about it because they don't have all those blocks that are put into our brain as we grow up with our rituals surrounding death. Because death is not, death is the end of life. Death, you should not be around after death. Ghosts are maligned and hated and scared. So as adults, we understand, oh no, I'm dead. I'm dead. And we start to fade away because that is our belief structure. It's like, I can't stay. No matter how much I want to stay, I can't stay. I shouldn't stay. I wouldn't stay. It could also create a lot of maladies, like make a very angry and vengeful. Children, they're like,
Not so
I can
much.
walk through walls. I'm invisible. Look at me. I can float. And all those things become and that's just how their life is now. And they don't need the nourishment that comes from interaction. But having said that, when they do have interaction, they can become very powerful. And that's why a lot of people have like profound fears of children ghosts, because children are tyrants. Children just want what they want.
That's so
and
true.
and they don't have any reasoning. You can't reason with a child. If a child wants you to play with them and you're not playing with them,
They will make sure you do.
they will throw a tantrum. And that tantrum can do damage, and they will not feel sorry for the damage you cause. You might be able to point it out, but they will recognize it if you're hurt. But they're children. They're monsters. Children are monsters.
And also, I was going to say, it makes actually a lot of sense that maybe your child didn't have this spirit with them before, but you're at a park.
Right.
So it would make total reasonable sense
That's where the child would hang out.
that it would be attracted to a park, where it's like, oh, other kids are here. So
Or it was where they played. Yeah.
exactly. What were you going to say, JT?
I was just going to say, Trisha said, my daughter saw her sister for years after she passed. I love that she got to see her.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
That's
pretty.
sweet.
Absolutely. And
cool.
and that's another thing is, in that familial dynamic, why would the child leave?
Yeah.
You know, it understands this is the family. And we've even talked about how in certain cases, children ghosts grow. And a lot of that it comes from the experiential fact that they are around their siblings who are growing, or they're around other children who are growing. And through observation, they make alterations to their
Right.
identity. And so, because we've talked about like infant ghosts appearing as adults. And it's because over enough time with enough exposure, these spirits are frustrated by their lack of growth and can manifest themselves into new forms simply by observation, belief, through the structure of however they exist. So it becomes a really bizarre game where, it's very possible that some of the most destructive spirits are just, toddlers who manifested themselves into a much larger form through observation, but they still have that toddler mentality of what they want and how they want it and how selfish a small child can be without any restraints, without a parent to tell them no, without a structure to give them social cues. If it's a very large and powerful entity, but still has that mind sensation to it, it could become very destructive and very dangerous. And not because it's malicious, just because it doesn't have a comprehension of, social graces.
Yeah, it's a great photo.
It's a really compelling
yeah.
photo.
All right. So we're going to need a little bit of time for this one. So we're going to move on because the fourth and final one, we have room for one more. I need to create an effect for that. I definitely need to create an effect for that. Room for one more. We use that a lot. Anyway, this has always been one of my
Get the Disney
favorite.
lawyers on us.
Literally.
What's up?
You're going to
The
get the Disney
Disney
lawyers
voice.
on us.
I know, right? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. wouldn't it?
Capacity for another.
Yeah, so this has been a photo that I have always found super interesting. It's well known, and I can't believe that we haven't discussed it on this podcast yet. I'm not sure if y'all have seen it, but I'll read you the quick newspaper article, and then Madison, you can scroll down. I'm going to give it to the Parajunkies now. Yep. All right. St. Paul boy, 16, dies in car accident. John Boulware, 16, 1485 Sargent Avenue, St. Paul, died about 7:45 p.m. Thursday when a car he was in hit a tree. St. Paul police reported. The driver and two other passengers were treated and released at St. Paul Ramsey Medical Center. The accident occurred on Edgecombe Road between Snelling and Montreal Avenues.
Is this
So
the
y'all,
screaming ghost?
I think. it might
Yes,
be-
this is
yeah.
screaming ghost.
Oh wow.
This is taken by the police officer.
yes.
Wow.
There's actually, I
such
think,
a
a documentary
cool photo.
on this picture.
Really?
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I need to watch that.
Yeah, I think it's on YouTube. But they talk to the cop who took the picture. But if you look at this, it is
Yes.
the screaming ghost is one of the most compelling. It captures the anguish.
It's unbelievable.
Wow.
It's
So
unbelievable.
there's multiple.
There's multiple photos. So yeah, I'm gonna show
Okay.
them to the live stream now.
Yeah. So is this second one the boy, like the deceased?
The deceased
Yeah.
boy. Yes.
Okay.
That second one's the deceased
Look
boy.
at all of that, though. Well, so this actually makes a ton of sense because the police are the first on scene when anything like this happens. And that would be when the spirit is freshest, even if it's not intelligent, because that very well could be because high impact car accidents are going to release a lot of energy.
right.
Could just be the manifestation of it. But that's fascinating.
It's fascinating. And when you go down to the comparison photo,
Wow.
it's him.
Yeah, there's no question.
There's no freaking
There's no question.
No,
That
that
it's
that
him.
is absolutely him.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And I don't know, it's always fascinated me. In my opinion, this is probably the most
It is absolutely one of the most compelling
One of
ghost
the most
pictures out
compelling.
there.
I completely
Mostly because you
agree.
have the comparison, the story behind it is so compelling. It's so strong because that would be the reaction,
Yeah, absolutely.
the last reaction, the last moment, the anguish,
Wow.
the screaming. You know, even
all this
It's
energy
just-
that's zipping around the car, you know.
So
Alex
wild.
found the YouTube documentary for us, so I could say it on the episode to the bomb. Alex, appreciate that. It's called "His Soul Caught on Camera."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the documentary,
And
Cool.
it's super compelling because again,
I'll link
I
it.
want to say this
Wow.
was still when you were developing film like in fluid,
Yeah.
you know, and so the cop was actually called in because he had not seen the picture. So he was actually called in to see the photograph because these weren't digital pictures.
Yeah, he didn't just look down at it and go, "What did I just capture?" Yeah,
Right.
That's crazy. It is so insane. And
And there's a lot of argument about whether film is more apt to capture spirits
I think it
than
is.
digital. I think digital is coming around. I think digital for a long time had so much noise that was inherent to digital, but since I think probably when we started passing like 5 megapixels, we started like moving towards the kind of quality required. However,
yeah,
film, people believe that film is about a physical impression. So that physical impression, that physical chemical impression is also a big part of the capturing of a spirit. So I actually have, for the museum, printed out all of these famous ghost pictures. I did not print this one out because I believe the copyright on it doesn't. I was worried that there's still, because it's
Still fairly recent.
well, it's not so much.
Who
Well,
would own
actually,
it,
I was
the
surprised
cop?
at how many of them
Or the
are.
police?
Well, I was gonna say I'm surprised how many of them are recent. I think it's because people are doing like books and stuff.
Sure.
oh sure,
It's got enough interest right now, and so it's very difficult. It's like, is that a public record picture? Can I use it? And if I'll continue to research it because it is super compelling. And I would love to make it a part of it. But I do have like the Bachelor Grove's, the Bachelor Grove ghost, and the Brown Lady, and
Oh, yeah, of course.
all the
Yeah.
famous pictures that everybody
Yeah.
knows. The woman in the back seat of the car. However, all of those were done with film, and there was
I
this
love that.
very solid notion that film has more tactile, physical, and even spirits had a much longer time to become associated with the process of film
Sure.
and accept being captured by film versus the new digital wave, which might intimidate spirits. You know, it might be a different animal, and we don't know. We certainly don't have enough evidence one way or the other as to what medium is best for a spirit to present itself. Because we talk about like the spirit box, which is the radio going back and forth, and radio transmission is kind of this incredible thing because it is happening at all times in a wide wavelength, and can be manipulated through all sorts of means. The classic, like, if you have your fillings just wrong, you will receive radio stations in your head.
Oh yeah.
Gilligan's Island style. But knowing that that's how temperamental radio waves are and how very easy it is to manipulate, you take that versus like an ovulus, which is a word bank that spirits are supposed to like access like a dictionary and like pull words out of. That's a much harder sell. It's much harder for us to be like, did that ghost go through every word in this
and be like,
massive
"That's the
dictionary and
one."
say, this is what it is? However, that's not discounting that. It's just saying that it's an easy conversation to have where you're like, well, these are naturally occurring waves that you're tapping into, versus imagining that the spirit has that much autonomy or ability or understanding of technology.
I think you make a good point, though, with the fact that spirits have had much more time with film cameras, because if you think about it, the spirits that are caught a lot of times on film are Victorian spirits or spirits from the very early ages of film.
I was about to say so one of the most famous pictures, like since I've been really interested in this subject, was the Madonna of Bachelor's Grove, the Bachelor's Grove ghost. I had no idea it was taken in the 90s. I didn't know. Yes, I've always thought that it was a Victorian ghost. I always thought that it was like, some old picture from way back when. But no, it was a ghost hunting group in Bachelor's Grove taking a picture, and it's the woman sitting on a bench in the cemetery. If you're familiar with ghost pictures, you know this picture. She's just this sole isolated woman sitting there, and you would never think, well, that's a ghost.
Yeah.
There's nothing about it that looks like a ghost or would make you say a ghost. So you're really just taking the photographer's word for it. It's like, there was no one there. Well, there's somebody there. I can see that there's somebody there. But I always thought it was a very old picture, but it's not. It's actually, the photographer is alive. I've been reaching out trying to get a conversation with her. So yeah.
That's insane.
So that photo, it's always stuck with me. Very, very interesting.
It is.
Well,
Compelling,
it's
and
so compelling.
It's super compelling.
it's like, I don't know.
It's
like
worthy
you
of an
can't
entire
say-
episode.
It is.
Like
It is
at
worthy
some
of an
point, I
entire
would not
episode.
mind. I wonder if you could reach out to the police officer.
Yeah.
Because he's still around.
yeah. I mean,
and it might be a worthwhile conversation, because it's the one thing about this particular photograph is how profound it is to just a casual group of people who didn't have an intersection of supernatural. This was not a ghost hunter. This was not somebody who was looking for ghosts. He was literally taking not crime scene, but accident scene photography, and turned it in as a work.
Right.
It was his job. And so, and I've said many times, some of the most compelling ghost stories are going to come from police officers, because they're trained to rule out, all the different variables. They're trained to pay attention and know what's coming up.
well, and the best thing about it too is not only do you get a very recognizable face, you get all of that zipping of energy that would come with something like this, and it's just all of these are fantastic.
Yeah.
And his agony.
And it's pure agony.
Well, that's exactly the face you would expect somebody to make.
Yeah,
in
because
the
you
last
also
moment.
wouldn't find this expression in his, yearbook.
Right.
It's not like, somebody found a picture of him and's like, let's superimpose this picture. It's like, no, he's screaming in anguish. And that in its own right, tells you that you've captured this emotional stain on the environment.
Well, JT, you killed that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah, well done.
Appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up. It's been a good one.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you again to everybody who is listening to this. We hope you enjoy. If you have a ghost caught on camera that you would like to send to us, you can send it to ghostmail@hauntedcitypodcasts, and we might just include it on this segment. If not, if you have a story attached to it, we also love to read those on our ghost mail episodes. But since we have everything all laid out for you, my brain is fried. We've filmed multiple episodes today.
Actually, I think that that's actually a really interesting idea. Put in the subject "ghost caught on camera" if there's a photo attached to it.
Yeah.
That involves a ghost. So that'll actually help us separate the ghost mail from the ghost caught on camera.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're definitely going
Give
to
us
keep
that
doing
heads
the
up.
ghost caught on camera. 'cause
That would be
people-
fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there are some wonderful like Reddit sites, Facebook sites that people contribute to regularly. That is really one of the best resources for us. But if you've got pictures on your own or know of people, send them our way.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank y'all again. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day whenever you're listening to this. Thank you to the Parajunkies who are listening to this on the live stream. But with that, my name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Soucy.
And stay spooky, y'all.